Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some very intriguing news over here where right now a huge lawsuit between PlayStation has now finally been done. Like right now, it seems like PlayStation actually won a huge lawsuit, and we've been kind of seeing them setting a lot of precedent over here when it comes to gaming as a whole. So I'm one of those big people, I like court stuff, and if you guys know, I was in court for like 3 or so different big companies. It's kind of crazy, and I do not like lawyers, but I've also been watching Suits and all that, so I figured might as well go talk about this because it does actually change gaming as a whole, at least a little bit. And of course, well, I just want you guys to go watch, so make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on, and we do have the Twitter and Twitch room down below in case you guys like to go and follow, and of course, let's go dive on into the video itself. So if you guys have kind of missed it, we've been seeing a huge amount of lawsuits coming out over here when it comes from Destiny and Bungie. Now, I'm going to put PlayStation in the title because it is a PlayStation subsidiary, and I do believe they do have PlayStation's backing with it. But right now, it's intriguing because if you guys have been missing the news, they've been going hardcore on finding cheaters, finding hackers, finding people like doing weird things against their terms of service. And with all of this, they were actually actively suing them and also fighting against them. And this one's a little bit more of an intriguing one because I do believe actually they may have actually did action against Bungie first and then they countersued. So right now it seems like PlayStation is actually setting a big precedent, especially when it comes to PvP games. And I'm going to give you guys a lot of talk on this one because it does seem like they won. Or Bungie's while this Destiny 2 cheating lawsuit heads to trial this week. Most cheat sellers have folded, but in this case, they have actually sued Bungie back. So overall, in case you guys are curious, we've been seeing a lot of big actions against cheaters, like I said. And I think this is them trying to prep up for the future. We've been seeing a huge influx of people trying to hack and scheme Destiny, and also featuring any other game on the PlayStation platform. If they go and spend a lot of money on these lawsuits, it says and creates a precedent on their game, where at this point they could be like, hey, we went through 4 different lawsuits through it and spent millions of dollars on these law cases, but that means that we have the solidified proof that our terms of service holds up in law, that if people are cheating and utilizing our accounts to hack, cheat, or make money, we get to go and take action against them, and at a certain point, it just makes court cases a lot easier. But right now, it's kind of big because PlayStation's really trying their best to prevent against hacking in any way they can, and I think this is actually somewhat commendable. Mainly because a lot of these big companies just kind of like don't care. They don't try to set out the individualized precedent, and it does seem like Bungie actually did win so far. So right now, Destiny, the maker of Destiny 2, has been suing all these cheat sellers. So people making the cheats, making these engines, and basically cheating on the game itself. And they've actually been going through a lot. And this, I think, was the very first ever jury trial over video game cheating, and which was actually ongoing throughout Seattle. Now, at this point, Seattle, I believe in the Seattle case, it actually has been fully done, and they did actually win. But this case was Bungie versus AIM Junkies, and it basically put Sony-owned studio behind Destiny 2 against 4 men, David Schweifer, Jeffrey Conway, Jordan Green, and James May, who basically made, sold, and profited from cheats that let players from the popular game Destiny walk through walls or instantly kill their foes to gain a competitive advantage. And as well as this basically big trial has been a years-long effort to basically use all these legal people to go against these lawsuits so they know that people, or at least try to set the precedent, that people don't want to go and cheat in their games. We've been seeing them in ongoing lawsuits for like 3 years now, saying that their games are basically being harmed by the defendant's conduct. So people out here cheating and making the cheats, they run the game, and it is true. And I think I kind of support this, because it basically means that the future of PlayStation games or Destiny 3 will maybe have less hackers, or as well, that it kind of puts a real precedent where if you're trying to go hack in a Call of Duty or Fortnite or Destiny game or Last of Us multiplayer or whatever, that PlayStation might go against you and try to shut down your website and take it down. And I'm not really a big like cheater hacker guy, and I'm hoping most of you guys watching aren't too, so I'm good with this. I don't want to see cheaters in these games and hackers in these games. I don't really want this. So Bungie recorded more than 6,000 complaints about players using the cheat software and spent millions of dollars combating cheaters and cheat developers such as the defendant in order to protect its player base. And this is where I think it's a little bit extreme, but PlayStation is trying to make sure that hackers are not going to be on their platforms. And I think I like this. Now, I'm not sure if it's more so Bungie, but we can say, like, in theory, this would also be spread on out throughout PlayStation. Like, I'm sure the executives at PlayStation know this is ongoing, because why would they not? They're saying, what bothered me about this case from day one is that it looked like a bully company and a bully law firm pushing around smaller people, AIM Junkies lawyer said. But at the end of the day, obviously, Bungie and these cheat sellers wouldn't agree on much, and they're trying to go and settle. And at the end of the day, they're trying to push us on up. And they're basically like calling this out. They're like showing like these screenshots of video game. Funny enough, like literally the video game itself is in court. Like imagine some old boomer like judge being like, "Whoa, what is going on here? What's happening? Why are there hats and going on?" And there is basically no laws specifically against cheating too. And I think that's a big thing to note because they're going to go like they went to in jury to basically be like, hey, like we don't want cheaters. Like this is bad. Like what do you think? As a court of law. And as I mentioned, you have to set a precedent. If there's never been debated before, then they need to go and look at it. And it kind of seems like a place like Bungie. If they think they have a strong case, this is where you would like to go and spend the money to make sure you don't have to spend more money in the future for more flimsy, flopsicle like things. So basically, Bungie's position, like that of GTA Maker Take-Two, World of Warcraft Studio Blizzard, and others before it, is that to make a tool to see through walls in a game or get instant kills, the cheat would actually have to go violate the game's company's copyright. And due to this, it's also like a terms of service, basically being like, you're not going to cheat. And because of this one involves accessing a local copy of the client software of Destiny 2 to reverse engineer it, copying the code, and then making the derivatives work. So they had a very, very intriguing law case where it's like, hey, they're finding our actual internal data. So think like a Call of Duty, CSGO, League of Legends, whatever game you play. And they basically have to utilize the code of the game to reverse engineer it and fix it to like be allowing to cheat. And they're saying legally, like not even talking about like how it ruins the players, which it does, but that's more of like an ethical issue or moral issues rather than like ethics or whatever. This is more of like pure legal, where it's like you are ruining the terms of service and utilizing copyright IP and ruining it. Now, some games are able to be modded, but a game like Destiny is not. Like there's a reason why they have anti-cheat and stuff like that. So the game maker says the cheat software itself also violates the game's copyright. And Aim Junkie's ESP cheat, the see-through walls one, for example, extracts and copies normally inaccessible data about player positioning and then uses the game's camera. Which, like, if you guys have a brain, normal sense, like you don't want to cheat. Cheating should not be legal. But we don't know the legal definition of it. Like there's the layers of it, and they don't have the legal stuff. So basically, Bungie argued in its legal filings that these kind of cheats cause the players themselves to breach copyright, and at this point, that's why they're suing them. So it's a really weird legal case, but it did end up actually working in their favor because they did actually win the case itself. Saying because cheat software is typically made through infringement, there's no real defense to be presented. Basically being like, hey, good luck. Like you're completely, number one, morally messed up because you're cheating. Like no one likes a cheater and a hacker in front of a jury. Most people would agree. But as well also saying that they're basically legally and illegally more so taking advantage of all the software and coding that they should not be able to at the end of the day. And that's why it's a big, big deal because they're also making money off this. And they're also saying, too, a lot of this is like basically indefensible in court, and even with all these lawyers are out there. So at the end of the day, this actually ended up being a win, saying that Bungie did go and win the lawsuit against Aim Junkies, Phoenix Digital. Just 5 figures in damages, which was crazy because they probably spent a lot of money. I'm sure you guys know lawyers cost a lot of money, and dealing with lawyers costs a lot of money. And at the same time, they did have the jury go and say, yes, they do agree with Bungie. They rejected Aim Junkie's counterclaim alleging that Bungie basically illegally went to one of their computers, and at the end of the day, they basically won, like PlayStation won. So the money is not going to be a lot. Like they had to go pay $63,000 in damages, which at the end of the day is not that much. And this is the very first time ever that the world basically had ruled on a game cheating case. So now we have a jury verdict that supports game companies' frequent claims that cheats like these infringe on copyright. So this actually might be a precedent used for other various things, such as Call of Duty or other really big platform, if they want to have their lawyers look at this. So while, yeah, it may have only got them $63,000, and in theory, they probably spent a lot more money on that by even having a lawyer on retainer. But once again, they set a brand new gaming precedent. The gaming precedent as a whole is showing that things can be changed, and you could basically go and sue these people selling and distributing cheats. And it also shows that PlayStation means business. Like they do not want to have cheaters on their platform. In Fortnite, in Call of Duty, in Destiny, and any other various multiplayer PlayStation game. And they also did go and say that apparently the opposite side didn't want to fight it. They wanted to appeal to it, and at the same time, they just want to know like if this copyright violation even happened. But it did seem like juries did approve. And this is why things are cool. They're saying basically, we are grateful for the diligence, professionalism, and care exercised by the judge, his staff, and the jury. We're committed to our players and will continue to protect them against cheats, including taking this in future cases all the way to trial. basically saying that Sony is standing on business. They do not want to have more cheaters. And I would probably say it's actually a really good thing for the end all for gamers. This will probably help out for future cheating cases, aimbot, a wall hack, whatever issues in the future for really big games. And it's good for PlayStation as a whole that they want. So this is good. So we have the Twitter and Twitch room down below. I would love to hear your thoughts and comments on this all down below as well. And I appreciate y'all so much for watching in the first place.